we're just gonna go through a preamble real quick. All right, go ahead and call to order the common council meeting for August 3rd. We'll start off with pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments pertaining to tonight's agenda? All right, we'll move on. We have the swearing in of two new police officers tonight. The first one will be Brian Miller. Brian, if you want to come over here. Go ahead and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brian Miller,
I, Brian Miller,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Butler,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Butler,
and I will faithfully perform
and I will faithfully perform
the duties of a police officer
the duties of a police officer
for the City of Butler,
for the City of Butler,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Congratulations. All right, next up, Andrew Spangler. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Andrew Spangler,
I, Andrew Spangler,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Butler,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Butler.
and I will faithfully perform
I will faithfully perform
the duties of a police officer
the duties of a police officer
for the City of Butler,
for the City of Butler,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Brian or Andrew, I mean, you guys have anything you want to say to the audience or the council, or you guys good?
I just want to say thank you, and I'm sure I speak for both of us, and that we appreciate the opportunity, and we don't get to serve you guys well.
Yeah, absolutely, same to me. I want to thank you guys for all the good.
So if you was here just for the swearing in and you want to leave, we'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and leave. If not, you can stay here for the whole entire ceremony or meeting. We'll move on to the minutes for the previous meeting.
I will make a motion, we adopt the minutes of July 20th as presented.
A motion and second to approve the minutes from July 20th. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. Next will be the proposed ordinance and resolution. I know we have some more ORB discussion today. We also have somebody online that would like to talk as well, but I guess I'll start with the audience. If anybody in the audience has anything to say about the ORB, they want to add to it. Brent, if you want to add to who the guy is on the line here and what he's here for, and what his knowledge is, if you want to come up here, please.
So the guy on the line, his name is Dan Emery. He's from Goshen area. He got Elkhart, St. Joseph County, all passed. He knows a little bit more detail about how to do it, so figured he was the guy to ask.
Anybody else in the audience have anything we add before we go to Dan? Anybody on the council have any questions? Or you want to go right into what Dan has to say and ask some questions from there?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Go ahead, Brent.
All right, Dan, we're ready and live for you.
All right. Would you like me to go ahead and speak now, or
Yep.
just listen?
You're ready to go. We're ready to listen.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you all council members for having me, and thank you so much for having such a good team to be able to see it real quick. Brett Miller reached out to me, and he's probably in the room as well. And I am the one that helped basically facilitate the Elkhart County and the St. Joseph County ordinance passing for side-by-side, which gives us now only 6 counties that are left in all of Indiana that do not have an ordinance. And we're going to work on a statewide one currently, so that's going to be a couple years out, but we're definitely working on that as well. As for when it comes to the towns and cities are you guys a city and town?
That's it.
A city, okay, yeah, so you would need to take the city of Goshen, because we have a bunch of township or towns and cities around us that have all got ordinances as well. But I think one of the biggest questions was, where do you get into town safely? Was that the question, or?
Yeah, that's our main question, how we can get in. We know last meeting, Ron texted Lazoff, State Police Department. He said, by no way can you allow ORVs on a state highway. I know our city attorney's here, he looked up the ordinance today or whatever, so I'm gonna let Don kind of look in that. I mean, we're not opposed to it, we just want to do it the right way, we want to do it the legal way, we want to do it the safe way.
Sure, 100%. So I'll give you the synopsis of all of our local, basically how everything went for us. So originally, Goshen, because that's a big city, right? We originally wrote the ordinance to specifically state that you could ride between X road and X road, basically wherever that state road turned into a new road name. Like for your, I'm trying to do a group on you guys really quick. When it turns into Grand Army with all the highways that are right there, no, West Main Street, where it would start and end, that you could have your ORV on that. And that held up for about a year. And then finally the city attorney said, hey, by law, that means that we are overriding state law that says you cannot. But
what they did is they changed the ordinance, so that ordinance went from, ordinance 5184 to 5221, if anyone's taking notes. And they pulled out that specific language. Well, what they have done, and all the other local, communities have, is basically on their Facebook page, or any of their social media, said that those roads are open for us to participate. They just couldn't have it legally written in the ordinance. And what that does is that allows all those folks that are basically along that road, along West Main Street there, looks like there's a ton of houses. I'm kind of just doing a Google zoom in. You probably have 50, 60 houses or so, probably. They are not landlocked and they can still participate in this. And it also allows you to probably get to, I see, like McDonald's, everything else downtown there. Now the only way that someone would have or get in trouble, which we have not had one single person that I know, is that if a state trooper does come through town, pardon me, and happens to have probably the worst day of his life, and physically wants to try to pull somebody over for trying to go to, let's say, a Family Dollar or one of the McDonald's off of 6, or anyone that pulled out of their own driveway that lives on 6 in town and tries to, get away from that road. I've been constantly monitoring this for a couple of years now, and we have not had one person that I know of that has been ticketed by anyone, even our county sheriffs. So I check in with our county sheriffs quite often. They have zero problem with them, and I've actually talked to see Joe at the fair the other day, and that sergeant he looked at me funny. He said, I've never gotten a single phone call or heard a single report of a problem. He goes, you guys are the least of our worries. So I think if we overthink it, it makes it worse. What I would do though, I would probably leave it out of the ordinance language that states that you can legally be on that road, but it's almost I don't know how to put it, it's just a known fact that you can do that, but you sort of do it at your own risk in case the state trooper really wanted to try to be mean that day. But it's never happened yet.
So, Dan, what did you say your city attorney changed on the language or ordinance to make this?
Yeah. So what they did, actually, I can read it to you. So what they did is we had originally wrote it in. So this is the original language, and then I'll repeat the adopted language. Section 2, off-road vehicles shall be operated on any highway within the corporate boundaries of the city that is designated as a part of Indiana State Highway System. And then specifically said, specifically the State Road 119 between Green Road and US 33, and it lists all of that. So they came back to me and said, the attorney's nervous if you were overriding state law. So they changed it to read, off-road vehicles shall not be operated on any highway within corporate boundaries of the city that is designated as a part of the Indiana State Highway System. So that makes them, I guess, basically, they won't get in trouble if you were on that road, but yet, if you go to Goshen's Facebook page, at the beginning of the year, they did a big post and said, hey, by the way, everyone knows that it's golf cart and ORV system, time. So if you're on the rules, they actually listed the 5184 rule, or the ordinance, and it specifically says that you can be on any city street within the boundaries, and then they call out all of those, which I know it's an online post, but it's basically saying that we don't really have a problem with you guys whatsoever, we've never had an issue. But they just legally could not write that in their ordinance and override a state rule.
So what you're saying is, their ordinance says it's unlawful to operate on a state highway, however, we're not gonna enforce it.
100%. Yeah, our police force here, that goes for here, Napanee, Middlebury, Bristol, Wakarusa, trying to think of all the names, Shushawana, any names that you probably, you might be recognize all of those. They all have the exact same situation. Everyone still gets to go down and buy tacos and have a date night with their wives or girlfriends and get some ice cream downtown. And no one's harassed. As long as everyone just behaves. You know, you go with the flow of traffic. These machines are just as big as a vehicle, you know, a large size vehicle, so they're easy to see. We all have lights, so that's not a problem. Seatbelts, roll cages, and honestly, safer than a motorcycle, an e-bike, or, you know, a scooter running up and down the exact same road that doesn't have the same, you know, that has the same freedoms. So all of our local enforcement have basically just justified it and said that thing's way safer than everything else that's running around here. You are fine.
It sounds like the other justification and the other part of that was what he was saying though, where all of the houses that are on that road need to have a way to get there. It's kind of like when you go to a US and you can go down just a little bit to make the turn. All these houses have to have a way to get out. So technically there's access to the entire road because they could all have UTVs and need to get somewhere. So,
Yeah, we had that problem originally when we first started presenting these, and because there are folks that live on that road, so they would actually have to physically load their machine on a trailer, take it a couple blocks and park at a friend's house, and then unload it, and then they could participate in, you know, in the great American freedom that we have. All of our council members said that's ridiculous, that there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. And quite honestly, a lot of them spend money. A lot of these are starting to replace a lot of motorcycles, especially for some of us folks that are getting a little older, big bikers, but this has kind of replaced that. And so we use this for date nights, and we go down and have our date night downtown. It's a lot of fun, and we're trying to go down and spend some counters locally. So everyone here, they love it. And it seemed to have worked very, very well. And then I was trying to figure out, it looks like there's quite a ways in town. The only one that was a little sketchy is, it looks like based on the boundary is 28 coming in across the tracks. The way that Google Maps shows the boundary, it looks like your city limits run on the opposite side of 6 slightly on Forest River property, possible. But every road looks like it goes directly in. I just wouldn't ride in on 1 or 6 outside of the city limits. That is definitely justification for the state trooper to gauge.
so ultimately, without a change at the state level, home rules does not allow us to open it up. They've already restricted it to this point. We don't have home rule to say we can make it less restrictive. But this is very similar to Hamilton. Hamilton's allowed it for years, but it's been more of none of our local law enforcement cares as long as everyone abides by the rules. None of the state troopers seem to have an issue with it. So.
Yeah, I had written in a group ride there, they would cheer me ride at their conservation club, and I did that a couple years ago, and it was a wonderful ride, and yeah, we had 0 problems. And raised a ton of money for the conservation club. That was a wonderful ride going over there. I'll give you just a quick preview of the state level. So I'm working with the transportation secretary right now, and 2 senators and 1 state spokesman, I believe, called representative. And so we are working on language at the state level that will basically say that you can have a side-by-side vehicle only, not a RV, a quad or anything else, but it has to be registered with the state, the same way that it's currently registered, or if it's possible that we're going to add like a small license plate, kind of similar to what the Amish do. Will be a yearly fee, and then we will be restricted to basically stay off any state freeways that are posted above 55 miles an hour. And that way, the entire state is open, very similar to Tennessee, Wyoming, Idaho, Arizona. At the last count, I think it was 17 or 18 states that have now completely wide open to as long as it's a side-by-side vehicle with seatbelts, lights, brakes, everything that you would normally put on, let's say, a Jeep or any other vehicles you're gonna drive on the road. Those states have opened that up, so we're kind of pushing towards that as well. Actually, Ohio did. I'm hearing that as well. So we're trying to piggyback off of a couple different states' legislation, introduce that. That is a slow, arduous path, I'm being told, and it's probably going to be a couple of years. But there's a lot of revenue involved. There's about 101,000, 102,000 ORV registrations in Indiana alone. And this is the side-by-side alone in the industry is about a $16 billion industry in North America alone. So there's a lot of money on the table in the states that are interested.
Anybody else have any questions for Dan here at the table?
I guess my question would be, nothing's gonna come back on the city, correct? Like, a state guy has a bad day, gives the ticket, nothing comes back on us.
Well, no, he's enforcing the law
Yeah, as long as you have it.
and passed by your elected representatives.
Just makes us
As long
look
as you don't
bad.
have that language in your ordinance.
I would never suggest that you formally advise the police not to enforce the law.
Yeah. Are they in the room now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening, thank you for setting so I will tell you that we've had all of our local police and in each city come in, and actually 2 of them are owners of themselves, so they were actually excited about it, because they wanted to be participated as well. And right immediately after the meetings, they said, as long as everyone behaves, and they know that the folks that own these, you don't, the 12-year-olds are not allowed to be in this anyways, but they're not out running around on these anyways. These things run from $20,000 to $60,000. I mean, they're more expensive than most of the vehicles on the road today. So it tends to be a more mature audience and ownership. So and don't think you're going to see any issues. And if you do, you correct them, just like you would any other vehicle. But I have yet to hear of anyone getting a ticket from any of our city officials. I'm kind of waiting for it. I mean, I'm sure someone's going to get one eventually, but it's been a couple of years now, and everyone seems to just behave, and it's a privilege. It's a wonderful privilege for us to be able to do, and we want to try to respect that.
Does this also include golf carts as well?
Now, for all of our local ordinances here, golf carts are not allowed on the state roads in town. That is a rule internally. And they do, local will try to enforce that a bit. You know, I don't know if they're handing out tickets, I have not heard that, but they definitely discourage it. What they will do though is like downtown Goshen, and like right in the heart, if you've been in Goshen before, where all of the historic buildings are with all the storefronts, you can get away with it there, kind of in the shopping district, if you will call that. But they're definitely not running out to minors on US 33 inside the Ocean City limits to do that. That's definitely a no-no. I think there's just a lot of self-policing. I mean, everyone, the community's done very well. They understand it's a privilege, and they just don't want to take it away. So they've done a really good job of behaving.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions about the ORV? I think we're done with Dan right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Is that okay?
Yep, we're good.
Hey, again, thank you so much. I didn't give you my address. Did you need that for record or?
If
No.
you could just email it to Braxton.
Yeah, email me any of your information and I'll get that over to anyone.
If anybody has a question,
Okay.
you call in.
And if any of us have a question, can we call you as well?
Absolutely, anytime. I
Awesome.
love it.
Thank you for your time.
All right, everyone have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, we can turn mics back on, whoever wants to talk or anyone got questions.
Well, we got the attorney's opinion, what's the police officer's opinion?
You got that from him as well. I think that's a good idea.
I guess I didn't ask him, what was his, is he part of a consulting firm or anything that looked into this, or was he on the police department? Brent, do you know?
No, I think he rides and just got involved with kind of getting everything passed.
When I talked to the Waterloo Marshal, he was unaware of the exact law that we are discussing. Waterloo passed it, they had a gentleman go through it, their attorney looked at it, and the verbiage was okay, so he approved it. But when I spoke to him, I'm like, you guys are having them go down a state road, and he goes, oh, it turns to a city street. It's like, no, that's still a state road, you can't. And that's what a lot of mindsets of these cities are doing, is a city street when they're changing names, which is not the case, it's still a state road. I talked to Mark Company over at Garrett. They're not allowed down Randolph Street because that's a state road. They've had many complaints because people want to go to the south side of Auburn or south side of Garrett and can't go down the underpass because that's a state road. But they do not allow it.
And if you don't mind, just for everyone, the jurisdiction part, I mean, that's key.
Well, the statute says, under the jurisdiction of the city, yeah, state highways are not, they're obviously are under jurisdictions. We don't maintain them, we don't control the traffic light, we don't, tell you what speed you can regulate some speed within the city, but the state can override it. So, yeah, it's within the jurisdiction of the state, they make it very clear.
We can't put any driveways off of State Road 6 or US 6 or State Road 1. Like, we have to get very explicit permission to do that. Like, we don't have the ability. It's we have weak home rule. So anything the state says, we can never make it less restrictive. We can only make it more restrictive.
Anybody else have any questions?
The part about the houses on the streets was interesting though, because, yeah, I mean, they have a right to participate in that, and it's kind of like going up to US 6. You can legally, if you need to, you can't ride that road the whole way, but you can cross it. I mean,
At a
you know,
right angle, at a right angle.
so that is an interesting way to do it. Like, maybe they do live there, maybe they live on that road and they're just getting onto the main path that they can then go. So that was an interesting way to do it.
I guess where I'm at on this right now is I'm nowhere near ready to make a vote or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of confusion right now, I think amongst a lot of us as far as the rules and laws and things like that, so I'm not ready to make any type of a move on an ordinance or anything like that until we get more clarity at this point. 'Cause
Does
my
anybody know how the county actually lets you go down?
Can
state
you come on up
highways?
here, can you come on up to the microphone, because I know Justin's
All right.
getting name and number and stuff like that.
Hello, Kerry Burns, live here in town. I'm just curious how the county wrote it in their ordinance. It says you can ride down the highway from crossroad to crossroad, and it's not a big deal, but we can't do it to get out of our town.
I think the way there's,
I can ride down 6 to go from, say, 63 to 59 if I'm out of town limits.
Again, I don't know, but I don't think they're looking at the law specifically. Because I've talked to many other places, just like Waterloo, they didn't have anybody actually look at the law. They just said they wrote the ordinance and then the attorney looked at it and said it was good. I don't know if that's the case for this one, but the state law says you are not allowed to be on any state road.
I gotta leave the county for a little bit more thought into it than somebody.
I would think.
I would almost guarantee that if a trooper wanted to pull you over and ticket you in that section, they could.
I can get one in Hamilton. I mean, the guy said it right there in Goshen, it's the risk I'm willing to take though.
Correct.
Because, you know, they do allow it. I've been told in Hamilton before, our town ordinance does not supersede the state laws. If the state trooper wants to pull you over and write you a ticket, he's gonna write you a ticket. He can do that on a city street in Butler. I mean, so what?
So if that's a chance you're willing to take, why would you even use an ordinance then? If you're willing to take that chance, let's be done with it.
Well, I'm not
You
saying
take
that,
chance.
I'm asking the question, how is everybody else writing this off and we're looking at it so hard that all we're doing is asking for a little bit easier access to get in and out of town. Rather than
I'm 100% for that, if we can do it, where liability is not gonna come back on the city. Just like he said, motion, we allow you to do it, but we also ask you not to enforce it. When somebody ever gets killed, where's that gonna come back on? Is that gonna be on the liability for the city, because some lawyer's gonna go, I'm sorry, Don, but sometimes you get some lawyers that can come in and say, hey, the city said you could be on there, you can't, you supersede the state statute, now you're liable for this. I don't know.
Where do you travel from?
Ash Street here in town. I live over on Ash.
Oh, I mean, county,
In the county ordinance, the only place that was restricted was County Road 35 between something, but it says that you can go from down a state highway to go from crossroad to crossroad if you need to.
they're able to do that because all of those restricted roads are county roads. In their ordinance, I've got it in front of me, they accept federal and state roads rights of way, roads and rights of way within an incorporated city of town municipal boundaries. So they have restricted county roads, but they permit someone that lives on that county road that's restricted to travel the shortest distance necessary to get to an unrestricted county road. So they're all county roads, so they can control
Which is very similar to the premise he was talking about with someone who lived on a state road or something in a city. They just need to get to the next road.
them.
So
Except,
somebody that lives in a 400 block in North Broadway that doesn't have an access, only the backyard, well, they would be limited to come off of their property onto North Broadway or State Road 1.
Get to the next.
The next to the city.
What Don's saying though,
Supersede the state law though, is what he's
yeah,
saying.
what Don's saying, that's only on county roads,
yeah,
not state roads at all.
And it specifically even calls out municipalities, we're not gonna let it, that's out of our jurisdiction.
And this is amongst the county police then, because they've said it, I mean, that's fine. I talked to a state trooper, when he was sitting in Family Dollar.
You want to go up there, like, please?
I just briefly spoke to a state trooper when he was sitting in Family Dollar's parking lot, and I asked him specifically, golf carts, RVs, and he said, we're not gonna bother him. I said, so if I run down 6 to get on 59 or 63, I says, you're not gonna stop me for a ticket? He goes, why would I? He says, the law is really messed up. He said, we got more things to do, we're worried about you running down the road to get on 59. That's exactly the words out of his mouth, and I talked to the conservation officer, she said the same thing. She says, there is no law that I can't write on any county road. She said, there's nothing keeping you from writing on a county road. So, I think there's just a misunderstanding in all of this that, maybe we're just, everybody's afraid to give permission because they're afraid to come back on it. But if we leave the ordinance like it is, then the city will be protected, it's up to us. I mean, unless Butler police are gonna stop us every time they see us out, that's different, that's another problem.
we all
But
know,
as far as the state, they don't
we
care.
all know the police have discretion.
Yeah.
I mean, if the speed limit's 30 and you're going 32, you're probably not gonna get stopped. Well, I understand that, there's a lot of rules like that. There are a lot of police officers, state police officers, I've talked to them. If they stop you for drunk driving and you've got a small quantity of marijuana on you, they throw it in the ditch and cite you for DUI. They don't cite you for possession of marijuana. But there's a lot of discretion, but I guess from a legal standpoint, that has to be an informal decision by the police officer. It can't be by the governmental entity that passes the ordinance, so. Okay, the ordinance has to say you can't do it. Or not. And I don't think it's, and what's done privately, I mean, people don't have to take my advice, I just give advice, but, very easy to do. It's much easier, more difficult to follow it, but, in my opinion, the law is clear. As I said, it was passed by our elected representatives. It says no ORVs or golf carts on state roadway highways. That's the law, and the police officers have discretion. Obviously, some state troopers have better things to do. They don't worry about it. So if they see somebody weaving down the road, state highway, they may stop it, but,
Can I just?
Go on, Amanda.
Yep, I'm Amanda now. So I guess for me, our biggest thing is right now currently to get out of city limits, you have to go down Federal, railroad track. You go down, the next one's going to County Road 34, railroad track. If there was truly an emergency and I was out of town and I needed to get back into town to my home and the railroad tracks are stopped, just maybe having one other access point to get into town that does not entail a railroad track. That would be my only discretion. It's a safety concern if you needed to get home, there was an emergency, and the railroad tracks are closed. Because it's a known issue here in Florida. The railroad tracks are an issue. We all have no problem with following the rules to get in and out of town on Federal. But in that off chance, if that train stopped, we have to just sit there for hours and then risk getting into trouble because we're out and about after 11 o'clock, which is the city ordinance time. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
That's an issue where I want the railroad all
Yeah.
around.
Do other cities have curfews like that? Do most of them have curfews like that?
Well, the original curfew for if you don't have lights, headlights. But
Most of them do now.
Oh, we require,
Yeah, if you have headlights, then.
that was back when
Yeah.
they didn't have, a lot of them didn't have.
Yep.
So maybe this could be a discussion, instead of having 4 access points in and out. Still law to law. It would be narrowed down to 1.
So I just recently watched a guy or a gentleman on his golf cart go all the way down to Commerce Drive, and he cut over the grass and then cut over into S&J's parking lot to go to Ace Hardware. So even if there was some kind of like access point, just to get north, because you can, if you get to Federal, you can go south, you can go east, west, but in order to go north, you have to go all the way south, get stopped by a train, and then eventually make your way up to 163.
So if we made that sidewalk in front of Universal a path, that would alleviate the issue you can get on basket
I
path.
think a lot of us, and I'm not gonna speak on everyone, but I think a lot of us, we all do ride up to Hamilton, and that's our most frustrating point is to get to Hamilton is getting down to Federal, getting stopped, and then going up 63 all the way up.
So if we could make that sidewalk work, would that solve some problems?
Yeah.
For me, yes, you can't speak on everyone else.
I mean-
Universal or?
Well, that's what I'm saying, at Commerce,
Yeah.
can't you do a 90-degree angle to get over like the S&J parking lot? You can't cross 6 at all?
You're down.
You have to physically get on the 6 to then go over to S&J's.
It's very short distance. But then,
You're allowed to, it has to be perpendicular. You're going at an angle to get across that street.
Oh, it's gotta be in the
Says the
90s.
statute.
It's
specifically-
literally perpendicular.
plus that's private property, so I mean,
Yeah, that's
issue
true,
with
yeah.
everybody going through there.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Jack, if you start getting a bunch of ORVs running through his parking lot, he ain't gonna like it.
No, you're gonna kick rocks everywhere and it's not
We're
gonna
gonna have to go down the road.
This brings up another question, but is the parking area on US 6 on the west side and the east side considered part of the state highway? Because I know state highway is limited on width, but the parking area itself, is that considered to be part of city property?
If it's, the state has a right of way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, the statute permits driving on the right of way with your ORV.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the width of the, you know what the width of the state highway
It's
is?
definitely the whole, I don't know the actual numbers to it, but it's like from tree to tree on the road going all the way down.
Okay.
So
Usually
that
a
actually
utility post or
is
the,
considered.
that's the indication, so.
That was designed for wide roads to be able to go through there.
So I was just wondering if we were to mark it, it would still be considered that. So if you were to mark it with a line,
But still state highway. Yeah, still on it.
that's what I was just
But you
wondering.
can go on the right of way, you can't go on the travel portion. The statute permits you to travel, if it's safe, you can travel put your ORV on the state right of way. Which is kind of I was trying to think, most highways, are ditched because you can't drainage, so I'm trying to figure out where that would apply, is you could actually drive in the state right of way.
That's what I was thinking of, the berm side of it, plus the parking area.
Rest assured, man, this is not something we're saying, no.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
just are trying to find the best way that's gonna satisfy most people.
I just think it's a disservice for us that do ride to not have access back into town if we need to get back into town.
Right.
So I think there needs to be looked at another opportunity to get into town in the off chance there is a train. And at that point, I mean, there's been times that I've had to, it's been 8 o'clock at night and I've had to go all the way down to Bowling Alley to get to the east side, like to that first road, because I had to get into town. I'm not gonna sit there with my child till 9, 10 o'clock at night and wait for the train. Or I have to call someone to come and get me on a truck and trailer and haul my side by side back to town.
Once we get Independence Street done and Liberty Street done, we'll be good.
Yeah. But talking what you're talking about, Ron, on the parking area there, that would get you out, but that would get you back into the city.
He's driving the wrong way.
Yeah.
See, that would be, the benefit of the people that live on the road, because they literally go straight across, and then, you know, they can use that for access to the next road, or city street.
And most of the people that's asking about it don't really live on that area, they're asking for it, either people that's.
Right.
So could I just ask for like, say mopeds, those are not required to have a plate on it, right?
License plate?
Yeah.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Okay. At one point I know it wasn't, so I was like, they're able to go ride this.
We have to have an endorsement.
They're never, okay.
You have an endorsement?
2016, that changed.
Yep.
Like I said, I agree, it don't make sense that a lawnmower can come down US six, it doesn't make sense that a motorized wheelchair can come down US six,
Yeah.
but they won't allow an ORV. or
I get stopped behind mopeds that are 30 miles an hour or less than that, I get stopped flying in my vehicle, and that's a more of a hazard than my side by side that can go up to 65 miles an hour. Which I know it's a state road. State
But
road,
is-
I understand that.
Is the berm state highway?
Yes. I mean, the berm is not, but it says, I'll read that. A vehicle may be operated on the public right of way adjacent to the traveled part of the public highway. They eliminate limited access highways, you can't do it on those. If there is sufficient width to operate at a reasonable distance off and away from the travel part and in a manner as not to endanger life or property. And it's crazy because that statute is under the 14 section and everything else is under a different section. So you could be on the right of way of the state highway and you're okay, you can be off far enough that it doesn't create a hazard. So if you could get the mayor to put a sidewalk on the.
Is there a, oh,
Well, we have talked with the west side industrial park where all the zones going. That is gonna be under a TIP district. A lot of times your TIP money is used to help put infrastructure in, but the infrastructure there, but was able to add sidewalks to it to qualify for the TIP district. So once that gets going, plan would be to take a sidewalk from AutoZone area all the way up to County Road 63 to Cal Plastics. But that's not something that's gonna happen this year, you know, unfortunately. If that is in the plans of doing that, that would alleviate that problem.
You better plan for some wide sidewalks.
Yeah, yeah, you'd have to be 8. Yeah. By your feet.
Maybe more for back and forth. Coming both
Well,
ways.
you could do what they did on Sixth there outside of Waterloo going to Auburn and tar it all,
Right.
couldn't you?
Do what?
You could just tar it all, not concrete it, like they did
Yeah.
Waterloo to
The
Auburn.
walking path,
Yeah, well, I don't know whether
where the trail.
asphalt or there's a sidewalk, I mean.
Sure, I mean, you could, it's all, you could be in the right way, you could be in the grass, if it could be safely traversed. You can, use the right of way, stay right away, oddly enough.
Then that's another problem too, on that side, you're dealing with the state.
I was gonna say, the state's gotta approve it.
No, they don't have to approve it, do they?
And do they plow it? No, I mean, we built sidewalks right on US 6, they'll have to approve that, right? Yeah.
All right, any other? Maybe, well, we're gonna need to get, come on, Kevin.
Another question, I just want to make sure I heard, Mr. Stuckey correctly. The state says that you can travel in the right of way as long as you can do it safely and not endanger yourself or other.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
it. As long as it's safe, you can do it safely.
So technically, if I'm riding down State Road 1 and I'm off the road in the right of way, I'm good to go. I just gotta be able to get to out of the city limits.
If you're 3 inches off the highway, travel portion of the highway, it's probably problematic, but if you're,
But have you seen one of these? I can drive through ruts and, I mean,
just so you're off the highway enough to create,
Exactly.
so it's not unsafe, and it's real, I mean, it's a little vague as to what unsafe is, but I guess you use reasonable person standard, what a reasonable person would be considered unsafe, but you can drive in the right of way, state right of way.
Can I just, one thing that, you know, because I think we're right back to where we were before. Didn't you read something about reasonable distance from, safe distance from?
Yeah.
Who decides what's reasonable? Does it come back to the trooper who just decides, this really wasn't reasonable, but maybe another trooper would?
It's
I don't think you're gonna run into that.
So I don't even, that's what I'm saying, we're right back where we were.
But if we're talking about reasonable distance, I mean, who determines whether Officer Rowe's car is a reasonable distance off the side of the road?
Eventually, a judge decides.
I mean, so, there again,
We're right back to where we were.
I just wanted to make sure I heard him say that correctly, because I thought I read that somewhere else, but, I
You
mean,
want a copy?
I'm pretty sure it's online. But I just wanted to make sure that was what was said.
Yes, exactly. You can travel on a state highway right away if you can do it safely.
And I'm pretty sure that's written for anywhere in the state. Not
That is,
just.
it is true, that's anywhere in India.
Exactly.
All right, anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, we're gonna move on. All right, we're gonna move on to no other comments, so we can quiet down a little bit, please. Get into department reports, and we'll start off with Ron.
I have nothing.
Andrew.
I have nothing, except thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. I will be back, but I'll be sitting over there, and I still do have a few things that need resolved and further information, so I'll be back if I need to just give you guys information from my research, but I'll sit out there.
Thank you for your assistance.
Yes, thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Is this the right time?
Yes.
Yeah, for those that don't know, obviously Andrew's last day will be today, August 3rd. Thank you.
Yep, I've appreciated everyone here, thank you very much.
Thank you.
But there are some things that we do have to wrap up, you know, get it sent over to the county, so they'll still be appearing and helping us with some of the processes. Corey.
I have nothing.
Stuart.
Just one question of clarification. So, I'm not naming names, I'm not giving an address, I'm showing you a picture, okay? I sent this person, a letter, both of these vehicles had been parking in the yard itself. In the letter, asked them to please, apply for a permit to expand their driveway if they'd like to, and if not, city council doesn't want you parking in the yard. So now they park with one tire in the yard. Is this what you want me to enforce? Or am I not gonna worry about this? This is my question, because this is happening all over town when I ask people not to park in their yard. Last night, both those vehicles were fully in the driveway. This morning, two wheels in the yard.
This is actually happening a lot when he asks people. I've noticed a lot of people that he's asked
Well, I'm not in my
not to
yard.
specifically park in their yard. Now they do this every day on purpose.
I don't wanna make a call on this. I need to know what you want me to enforce. Do you consider this in the yard? Or is this gonna be okay?
Zoom back out.
They got plenty of space to park right there.
They have plenty of space, the truck could move over, could easily get in and out of the vehicle, that's not, I don't know. what do you consider parking in the yard?
So I guess my question is, when we ask them not to park in the yard, it's mainly because we don't want, corrosive material leaking from their vehicles into the ground and things like that. I mean,
Well, some of it could be if you're coming aboard curb, you can go over some of our infrastructure.
Some mud.
Some of it's gonna run it in the springtime and drag that out and onto the streets and the dead and nothing always more creepy.
Here's another
Standing
example.
water for mosquitoes.
You can tell that's where they park all the time, but they're not in their yard.
I would say they are in their yard.
I would
say-
The last
Well-
one, I would give them, maybe you just didn't park it right,
because they're tires, it's
But-
not the whole vehicle.
well, they're doing it just to be jerks,
I think they are.
but
That's the point. So I just wanna know what you as a council want me to do.
Have you given warnings or,
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Lots.
if they've been warned
Lots.
and, but if they continually do it in spite of that, then I think then something needs to happen.
Cause if I enforce this, it goes before the judge. And I just want to know what you want me to enforce. I never write a ticket for a long time. I ask nicely, I offer you could expand your driveway, I send letters. Eventually, something has to be done if this is to be enforced. And that's why I brought this picture specifically. There's one other vehicle that I've warned like 4 times, and they will literally pull into their drive and put one tire in the yard, and I know it's on purpose. So.
And like I said, I know 3 months ago, Stuart, after clarification, you guys did say,
I thought pictures would help.
yeah,
I really did, so
Like,
that you see what
this
I'm dealing with out there.
this is anything that I can tell enforce as far as ordinance, it's up to the city council. You guys are the ones setting the ordinance resolutions. So, you know, it's up to you guys to decide.
In my opinion,
what you
they
want.
have been warned several times.
So I think too, because eventually they're gonna get tired of paying tickets and know that they should have just expanded their driveway and.
or learn how to park.
So I'm about to say, this is the same house where the white truck you just saw was mostly in, and they just park in their yard often. I've seen a couple of people parking in their yards recently, that car's been there about 3 or 4 times recently. Now, I don't know if it's to, keep the heat out, maybe be under the tree, I don't know. Once it starts, it spreads, is what I've noticed. And we went through a whole thing with parking, we mailed them all this stuff. I don't wanna over enforce anything, but I don't wanna under enforce either, so I need your help here.
Well, if you have warned these people 3 or 4 times, then it needs to go to the next step. I mean, enough's enough.
I agree.
Because if they're not heeding your warnings, then you're just not taking it seriously.
Playing games.
I send reminders, I don't even call them warnings, I'm just like, hey, you can't park there, the city council says you can't park there. And this is what I get.
That driveway right there is plenty big enough for 2 vehicles.
Yep.
The only people I tend to have a little bit of sympathy for is the people that have a habitat house. Because their driveways are not big enough for 2 vehicles. They're barely big enough for 1. But in this situation here, I mean, you gotta look at every situation different. There's plenty of room for 2 vehicles. So.
Now, they did, like I said, the day before, both of those vehicles were fully parked in the yard. Then last night, they were both on the driveway, and then today, this is what I see. Where we're just putting 2 wheels, cause I'm still in my driveway.
No, you're not. You're ORV on the drive. So, yeah. My opinion is you need to take this stuff ahead because they're just not taking anything seriously. And they're gonna end up rutting their yard up and then eventually dragging crap out into the street, which that's one of the things we're trying to avoid.
So, thank you for that, Mr. Allen, I appreciate that. Everybody else feels kind of the same way on this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll be the odd man. I see nothing wrong with that. But that's just me. Could they have gotten in there? Absolutely. Did they make it? No, they didn't. Are they being jerks? Possibly. Are they being a rowdy child? Probably. But I don't think I would waste my time on that. That's just my opinion.
What about like half of the car out of the driveway?
Now the truck, if you go back to where the truck is, 100%.
Yeah.
Like if.
He don't listen, she don't listen, take it up.
However, this truck probably started out as, tire.
Yeah.
Tires.
Well, he's
Yeah,
only
make
got
an
one
extra
in his
foot.
driveway where it's supposed
Yeah, I'm
to
gonna start parking.
be. Now, had he had it the opposite, would
Well, you
bother
said
me.
the day before they had them both in the yard, so
Yes.
are they making a mockery of the system?
Yes.
That's where I'm kind of.
That's the same house with the white truck.
Well, it's 4 to 1.
You
You
can
all
see.
said you agreed. I'm the odd man, so I don't count, so.
Well, in any case,
You still matter.
in any case, you have to judge, and he has to make a call.
I mean, if
Is
they're
half the
getting,
cars,
if they're
is that
getting
in the
warnings a
driveway or
lot,
out in the
and they're just doing it just to be,
Spiteful.
then, yes. I mean,
Maybe they're parked.
Well, and that's, I would never just walk up and write that person a ticket for parking in the yard. They're gonna get another letter. The second step, there's usually 3 steps and then a ticket comes on the 4th one. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to get clarification, you know, from you. I knew a picture would help, because this is 2 wheels in the yard, mostly on the driveway. Then this does progress quickly into 2 wheels on the driveway and most of the car in the yard. I've seen it over and over and over.
and when it gets over that far, is there anything there that they could be ruining besides their own yard?
My opinion, this person was driving directly off the street into their yard at some point, where there's definitely infrastructure underneath that could crush it. And if they want to expand their driveway, they have that ability.
Yeah.
The other
That's
part of
just
this
it. If they wanted to make their driveway 3 more feet wide, we would allow them to do that. They'd pull
No
the
one-
disc, you could do it
Very
with
few people
stone.
have taken advantage of that, we put that out there, we put that out in letters, but regardless, it doesn't matter if they're gonna damage infrastructure, it doesn't matter if they're gonna leave huge ruts, it's in the codes. If the minute you stop enforcing or only enforce codes once in a while when you see fit, the codes mean nothing.
Yeah.
So either rip the code out and let everybody park in their yards, or leave the code in and let nobody park in their yards.
Yeah.
One of the two.
And I would agree, this is petty, but this is petty on them.
I agree.
I didn't create the petty situation. So,
But if you warn them,
just once, they're gonna get another letter. If this is going on the next time I'm working and the same thing is there, I have to send them another letter. And this time I'll actually include the actual code, so they see that they can't do this.
would you like us to come up with, say, if you've warned them 3 times or 4 times?
Oh, no, that's what I do. I'm just asking, do you
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
this is parking in the
I
yard?
didn't know if you were asking us that,
Nope.
at what point do I write the ticket? or-
No, I got all that covered.
Okay.
On the 4th one, I write the ticket. I'm just wondering if you consider this parking in the yard.
I think some of it is based on intent. If they're trying to cross that line intentionally, just to see what you do.
And it's funny, because that blue car in the background there is fully in the yard, and they got the same letter. It spreads.
Yeah, once somebody does it, then the neighbor does it, and then it just.
Just like parking backwards, it just
Yeah.
spreads.
You know, how would you improve intent on that with parking? I mean, obviously, if you drive right up in there, but to put a couple tires off, you're not gonna be able to prove that in court law, that was intent to park there.
That's why the process doesn't happen. the
I mean,
first time.
he might come home, park his truck a little bit, a couple feet over, she come home, had a car in the backseat of groceries to get out, so had to pull over.
That's why she's not getting a ticket, she's gonna get another awareness that you can't do that.
That's
And she'll get 3 of those, or
Stewart,
or whoever.
Stewart usually doesn't give someone a warning unless he notices it over and over and over. It's not, hey,
this is the first time I've ever seen this car in the yard. I've seen this car over and over and over and
The
over.
first 3 times I saw him park fully in the yard, I just let it go. The 4th time I said, okay, it's becoming a habit, can't park in the yard.
Yeah.
Then they didn't last night, and then this morning it was this. And this is not, to me, a ticket rule thing, okay? I will send him another letter, can't park in the yard. Here's the ordinance, here's what it says. I just want a clarification from you as to whether you feel like this is parking in the yard. If this continues, even after warnings, then you know it is intentional. And that's when you get the ticket, so. And
I
that's,
think it's basically 4-1 to do it, so we can sit here and kick this dead horse for another half hour.
Okay,
We got other things to get covered.
that's all I have for
Okay, move on.
Yep.
Chris,
I have nothing for the council.
Braxton,
I have nothing for council.
Gavin. Yeah, so I'm part of this.
Nope. Not tonight.
Don. Angela.
I have nothing.
Chris, do you have anything for the council?
I do not.
Darren.
I do not.
Gail.
Just, this list that we always have underneath the council numbers, of all the different things, the garbage cans, the power, the bikes, the e-bike. Are we tackling any of these or?
Absolutely.
What are we doing?
Snow removal and parking limitations, we were just talking about parking, but we went through parking limitations. Feral cat's kind of a dead horse at this point, because of the funding that was lost by, the entities that were going to do it. Minimum housing standards we've been working on through Planning Commission and Safe Housing. Power chairs and e-bikes, we have not addressed yet. Kind of got into ORVs instead of that at this point. And the leashing of dogs, I've left that one alone for now. Had a couple of other little instances come up about dogs, and the way our codes read. So that is coming. Garbage cans is a big one right now because nobody's pulling their garbage cans back. And they
But we have an ordinance, in place. for
Yes,
that, correct?
yes,
So
and that is,
that could come off of this list and then just be,
Yeah.
went to the enforcement
yep,
side.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. We've worked on these.
So
Pretty
you're
well,
ready
so
to
we're moving
remove
away.
garbage then?
Yeah.
Yep, garbage cans,
Okay.
parking limitations, feral cats can come off there because it's just not really gonna work. Minimum housing standards and snow removal, we've addressed all those.
So what do you want left on it then? Just leashing
Right
and
now, leashing of dogs and garbage cans can come off, but we already passed an ordinance. Yeah, we're done, yeah, so we're about done with the list.
Okay,
We just have the leashing of dogs left at this point.
okay.
Power chairs.
Power chairs and e-bikes, yep, that's right, those two. That's all we have left.
Okay.
And we are gonna be tackling those in code committee, or what do we call it, code council?
Ordinance and resolution.
Ordinance, resolution ordinance.
Okay, this is what we all get, okay, is that what we call it? All right.
Okay. Anything else, Gail? Gary?
Just a couple things. One, congratulations to our new officers. And as school starts, as I'm driving down on Beach Street, going south, I see kids stopping and barreling through on Liberty and Green Street, and they're in a hurry to get to school, and they just basically stop and go and don't really come to a complete stop, and there's usually kids on bikes and kids walking and stuff, so I know when I drive by DeKalb High School, that they always have a county officer, county vehicle there watching the traffic there, and just, is that something that, or that maybe just once in a while, maybe just kind of keep an eye on the kids that just kind of, they just kind of go, just to, what I call tap and go, or stop and go. They really don't, they're in a hurry to get to school and everything. And it's usually off of Liberty and Green Street there, especially Green, but.
Yeah, we can do that, I can let Deputy Short know as well.
Okay, it's just, I just don't want anything bad to have. I don't, you know, some kids might just, you know, be in a hurry to get somewhere and, you know, I didn't want anything bad to happen.
I'll talk to the school about parking on their property, because there's, you know, nowhere really to park, so I know we talked to them about parking down their lane, so.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, and I think towards the end of school year last year, we've got some comments from a couple of residents down there, and officers were placed down there and really stopped that, so. And I know, with the new sign there on Liberty Street, the new speed limit sign, hoping that'll help kids coming out of the north parking lot, crossing the beach, going down Liberty to North Broadway will help that as well. Okay, Tracy?
No, I would just like to say that, the one corner up there that's all new mulch and everything up there, I really like it. It looks nice, especially being, you know, coming through town and stuff. And I
Those guys
did,
did a good job.
they did, and I did go to over the weekend. I would recommend it.
What was this? I didn't, yeah, I heard the train, what'd you say again?
I went to M&M
Oh, okay.
Sweet Retreat, no, this weekend. I would recommend it. And they have ice cream.
They have been busy.
That's what she said when I talked to her.
Okay, we have a couple of things there, just kind of what Tracy was saying about M&M Sweet Retreat opening up Friday. Obviously Butler Days is Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this week. We'll probably be shutting the road down sometime tomorrow. We have the concession side getting set up after 4 p.m. tomorrow. The industrial tent will be set up sometime after 7 or 8 tomorrow morning. So East and West Oak will be shut down. And I believe the right company is gonna start setting up rights tomorrow. Originally it's planned for Wednesday, but our permit says that we can shut down State Route 1 on Tuesday, so I think they're gonna do it early. And we got Russell and Debbie in the audience there. They're after our food people. Glad to see them show up here at a council meeting. I mean, I don't see that very often. But looking for good things, I think, the excitement's there, so hopefully we can deliver.
With that road closure, that'll be done before 8 a.m. tomorrow. We have everything ready to put out first thing in the morning, other than West Oak. We'll do that at the end of the day. So everything will be shut down first thing in the morning.
Except for State Route 1.
Except for one.
Yeah, just Oak Street, yeah, perfect. That's all I have. Does anybody in the audience have any questions or comments?
Mike, I got
Vice?
something for Stuart.
Okay.
By some more, I live on Beach Street. Stuart, I have a neighbor that's had a boat sitting in his yard for 2 years right across the street. It does not run, doesn't have a motor on it, it has a tree growing out of it. Now, how long can it sit there?
As long as it wants, as long as it's got a plate on
It don't have a plate.
it. I can check it out. Yeah. They're allowed to park close in the yard. On a trailer. I can look into it, you know.
Can you see the plate from the roadway?
No, but if you want me to, I'll go around and look at it.
Well, and Vicey, I've been working on that property to get that tree
Yes.
situation and the
he has
mulch.
that mulch.
Yeah,
He's
that's
still
what I've
done
been working.
And he's still done.
I understand.
I get tired of looking at it. I'm 80 years old, I try to keep my property up.
I know.
He's lazy.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I'll be brief because I know we're pushing time here, so I only got about 5 or 7 minutes each. It's kind of odd that this is happening this evening with all the talk about the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. My name is Mark Hoppus. The reason I'm here today is a business that was brought to me by your police department. I'm not a resident here, business owner, or representing any of my employers or affiliates. On July 8th, 2026, at approximately 1900 hours, your police department used a clock hit to initiate a traffic stop on me on my motorcycle. There are several misconducts from this traffic stop that could be addressed, but it is my belief that the most alarming of these is the blatant violation of my constitutional rights to travel and not be seized. And my question is this: is your police department enforcing the spirit of the law, or instead profiling me and others by the use of clock cameras? You can all judge my appearance for yourselves, but you cannot use the judgment of my appearance to take away my constitutional rights that are protected. I've attempted to resolve this issue by not publicizing your city's business. However, you have further continued your city's view of others or outsiders, if you will, by refusing to communicate with me effectively and come to a resolution. I don't want to be here. I've been forced to be here by your lack of concern for how your police department is treating American citizens. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, former police officer, and most importantly, an American citizen. When your officers saw me with no knowledge of who I was, where I was traveling, or what my status was, they made a judgment call to pay all of their attention to me. They did not have good faith to believe that my black Harley was the black Harley in question from the block hit, right? They pulled over and waited for me on US 6. They pulled over, stopped, and waited for me to pass to check whether or not I was the one on the hit. They pulled me over with the intent to harass me and act as tax collectors for the BMV. As a former police officer, I can attest to the fact that these officers acted out of malice and with ill intent. Their goal was not to keep the streets safe. Safe from what? A veteran, former cop on a motorcycle? They proved their ill intent when they cited me for my license plates being expired by 1 month and 1 day. My license plates were expired by 1 month and 1 day. I parked on 2 wheels off the road. You're right, I forgot. For 1 month and 1 day. They further collected taxes by citing me for my motorcycle license, missing my motorcycle endorsement. They also collected my old license, which is exactly how I got to the point of not having a motorcycle endorsement on the back of my license. The BMV is not infallible, and officers acting as if they are is both dangerous and a violation of their own code of ethics, as well as their oath of office. The truth is, I've been a licensed motorcycle operator for over 20 years, and I have my driving record here today to prove it. At the time of the stop, I had my for-hire endorsement, meaning that I could have driven the tow truck that took my motorcycle out of town with the motorcycle on the back, but couldn't ride the motorcycle. You gotta make that make sense. That's where the spirit of the law should have overridden the letter. There's a warning button on e-tape. Did it again now. They wouldn't hear me out for the BMV and mistakenly dropped my motorcycle endorsement that I had forgotten to renew the license plates and that I had taken financial responsibility by purchasing insurance for the motorcycle just 6 days prior. Instead, they were determined to focus on collecting as many dollars as possible for the state of Indiana and presumably for this city, which feels it necessary to go against the other 90% of the state of Indiana, the cities and towns that do not operate their own court. They told me everything I needed to know when I called your police department, and the very first option on the recorded message was to press 1 to pay a traffic ticket. It is important to note that this stop took place on a Wednesday. By Thursday night, the license plates were renewed. By Saturday morning, I had time to make it to the BMV, and they reinstated my motorcycle endorsement. You're an over-policed city with an overreaching police department. How many clock cameras do you guys employ? Does anybody know? Actually know? I do. Yes, sir. 2. That's the number I was able to conclude for myself, but there are varying reports online. So let's break this down a little bit. Los Angeles has 138 clock cameras over 469 square miles, right? The city of Butler, 2 clock cameras over 2 square miles. Meaning, if you do the simple math, you are 3 times more surveilled here in the city of Butler than you are in Los Angeles, California.
Okay, can I stop you there?
Go ahead.
We don't care what Los Angeles does, we care what you're in Butler, so stick to what you have to say about Butler. I don't care about your other statistics.
You got it. Mr. Hartman, you told me that your police department issues roughly 3,000 tickets in a year.
That's countywide. You didn't let me get that in, that's countywide.
That's countywide?
Yep.
Not only is that shocking, but it should be investigated. That's way too many tickets. If you look at
Just for the record, I told you prior to COVID, the court process posted 5,000 to 6,000 tickets.
Sure.
Since COVID, it's down to 3,000. That's countywide. That's also state. That's also conservation. That's all the other municipalities here in DeKalb County.
Still
not just the city of Butler.
Still shocking. The entire county of Allen County processed 28,800 tickets in a year. And approximately 300,000 people in the county means that you are 10 times more likely to receive a traffic ticket in DeKalb County than you are in Allen County.
I don't care about Allen County, stick to DeKalb County and Butler fast.
Traffic stops from surveillance for a non-moving on violation is an egregious and serious violation of my 4th and 14th Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution. As decided in Shaffer versus the United States and United States versus Jones, you cannot track me. That's what this decision says. That's as simple as I can make it. A simpler comparison would be a caption, where you have to prove that you're not a robot. Take all the pictures with the school buses. When you get a picture of me on my motorcycle, what does it look like? What stands out? My body becomes the exterior of the vehicle. You cannot track it. It is a violation of my rights for you to use your ALPR technology to find me. When I was a police officer, I had hanging in my own office a framed quote by Abraham Lincoln, and it said this: "I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place is proud of him." So the question I have is your place proud of you? If we were to poll the entire city, this portion of the state, would they be proud of the city of Butler pulling somebody over for 1 month with expired license plates and forcing him out of town on a tow truck? It's a sad day in America when a man cannot put together a bicycle with a motor on it and travel freely.
Keep getting shot for a minute. Get to your point. We don't care about your statistics, but I will ask you, do you think it's against the law to ride without endorsement for a license plate that's current?
No, sir. Depends on the circumstances. Did you give a warning to the guy that parked his car in the grass? That truck had been parked there a long time. A lot of warnings.
But I'm asking you, do you think it's all right to ride around with expired plates in?
To a point. Yes, Mr. Hart.
You think, okay.
That's called officer discretion. Okay. We've heard a lot of talk about that this evening.
Can I ask you, if you think that's wrong, why when you had your motorcycle towed, you called the tow company to come get it, you had them drop your motorcycle off at 6 and 69, then you hopped on the motorcycle and went back to Fort Wayne?
I was out of your jurisdiction. Why are you tracking me? Why do you continue to try to track me?
This is more, and another thing too, you want to say lack of communication. You talked to me, you talked to Corey, you talked to Christie, you talked to Darren, who else do you talk to? So you come up here and say lack of communication, total lie.
Did you say you were gonna call me back, Mr. Hartman?
And I did.
When?
I talked to you last week.
We spoke Wednesday. Did you say you were gonna follow up and return my phone call?
Yeah, I have not followed up. I didn't know you were gonna show up here.
Yes, you did. I told you several times, so.
No, well, what you told me.
Ultimately,
and no, I mean,
do better, Butler.
Yeah.
That's it. Do better for your citizens.
I'm gonna say you need to do better, because what you told me is we can make this disappear behind closed doors, or you'll show up and make a scene. Right there's the integrity of that man right there, guys. He's upset. He was 5 different police departments. He's 42 years old. To me, that tells you what kind of officer he was.
Well, and I'd like to make a comment too, a couple comments actually. He spoke to me. I had absolutely no issue in speaking with him. But he wasn't truthful with me. And that goes a long way with where I am. And he wants to talk about the integrity of our police department. I don't care what anybody says. I will stand up and say we have one of the best police departments in this county.
Absolutely, and I would second that.
And I have no issues with anything you do. If you want to complain about something, be within your rights to complain. We have listened to anybody that has ever had a complaint here and addressed it the best we could. And we will continue to do so. But don't be wrong and say that we're protecting somebody's rights. I'm a soldier too. I'm an ex-soldier. And I've been stopped by the Butler police, and it's been a long time ago, but I was wrong.
How long?
How can I be wrong? It's been a long time.
We can make it happen.
But how can you be wrong and then try to make
Yeah, right.
your situation right when you're wrong? We all as adults have to admit when we're wrong.
Yeah.
Take what you got from it. Don't make it somebody else's problem.
Yeah. And try and blame it on clock.
Well, I'll say when he called me, I didn't answer first, so I didn't return it, because he said he was not a salesman, so I was interested. Okay, what do you got? And as soon as we hung up, I sent out an email to the mayor, to Corey and Tracer, and said, what the heck is going on? What are we doing? And then you find out he had no license. So, I mean, accountability, we have to start with accountability of ourselves rather than pushing the blame, oh, the flop camera got me. Well, if you weren't, driving with expired plates and you weren't driving without a license, maybe you wouldn't have got stopped. So,
And the attractive black car was not his person. It was just some people like to make speeches, but want to do it to avoid accountability. Notice there was no conversation to be had. He's gonna tell us, thank you, Mayor, for cutting that as short as he would allow.
Well, just like that, like you said, he wanted his story to come across, but once you start questioning him back, and my biggest thing was, and I said, I'll quote again, he says, if we can make this disappear behind closed doors, I will not show up at your council meeting and cause a scene. To me, that's a threat. And then to say that we have a racket here because we're less than 10% of the communities in the state has a city court. This court's been here for 50, 60 years. It's not a racket. We get, I think, $14 per ticket after it comes back, if that, back to the city.
And it's
Everything else is
county
state,
court,
county.
isn't it?
Yeah. His story was all one-sided. I mean, I did tape record most of it, just so I know he couldn't come back and change his mind, but, no, you can't reason with this guy. And unfortunately, this won't be the last time we hear from him. And I even asked him that, I said, so do you think having blocks bad? So let's say you come into town and you got to put fireplace, but there again, you had marijuana, pot in there, a couple pounds. You think that's a good stuff? No, I don't.
This child was abducted by a car and come through and a block hit on that car until he stopped him.
The Toledo over the weekend, 30
Yeah,
minutes,
30 minutes.
the kids, less than 30 minutes.
Was she 6 years old or something? She wasn't very old. So.
Well, please keep on doing
Thank you.
I agree.
Anybody have any other comments in the audience? Anybody can top those comments in the audience? Okay, entertaining motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Everybody's on that.
Yes, it worked.